Hello everybody, it's comic review day. I am Rainbow Red Panda and today I am going to be reviewing the BPRD Vampire issues number 1 and 2. This series is a continuation of the BPRD series. It is a continuation of BPRD 1947 and BPRD 1948. It kind of goes along with the whole BPRD series though. Issue number 1 came out a few months ago, and I have read it. I really like it, but it doesn't have a lot of information in it. The first 4 or 5 pages alone, they don't have it's all just illustrations, which is fine. Like, I like to look at the pictures and everything. It has, like, a very dark color pattern to it. There's a lot of like darkish colors, and these are pretty much the only colors that are in the whole thing. Like, what you see on the cover is what you're gonna get throughout the whole thing. It's the same drawing style, same colors, everything. Like, it's not gonna be like a bright, beautiful thing, but it's kind of cool. I don't know. Like, that's like the first thing. And if any of you are wondering, BPRD stands for Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, which it kind of goes, if you've read any of the Hellboy series, he works for BPRD. It kind of goes along with that. Hellboy is not in this, at least not yet. There is a little, in the second, I think it's in the second one, it might be in the first one, but there's like a little picture of him, but he's not involved in this whatsoever. This so far follows Agent Simon Anders, and he has some issues, sort of. He has these dreams / nightmares, I guess you could call them, of vampires and things happening, but he's not quite convinced that they're dreams. He has some sort of, like, I don't know if it's a psychiatrist exactly, but he has a person that he talks to about them, and they kind of discuss these dreams, and he thinks that they are like a repressed memory. It doesn't tell you what time frame this goes in, but I'm guessing since it's a continuation of 1948, it either continues to take place in 1948 or it goes on to 49 or maybe the early 50s. It's definitely not present day. There's no, like, cars and, like, technology whatsoever so far. It takes place in Connecticut, which is where the BPRD headquarters is located. He is convinced that something is going on, pretty much. He doesn't know what it is, but he is determined to find out. So that's kind of what this series looks like it's going to be. It's going to be him figuring out what these dreams or repressed memories are, why he's having them, and what's going on. His little memories, it's like, if you look at the pages, the vampires are derived from a man. It looks like a central man, maybe like the king. It looks like he used to be a king of, like, Czechoslovakia, and his revenge for not being able to have a son and have an heir was that he was going to live forever and whatnot and turn people into vampires. So he turns these women into vampires, and they kind of all just, so far they've just become, it looks like one big, like, family. He calls them, like, there's a mother, and then there's sisters, and, like, I think everyone else that he turns is pretty much like a sister. There hasn't been any other males. I'm guessing he's just going to do females. So how Agent Anders' memories are playing into this, I'm not quite sure, because unless the vampires are capable of reproducing, I almost want to say that he has to be a vampire in some sort of way, but I mean, he doesn't have any aspect of being a vampire. He doesn't, look like the vampires that are illustrated in the series, and he doesn't, act like one, but he's convinced that he has something to do with what's going on. So maybe he's a descendant of the man that's turned all of these people into vampires. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's only on the second series, but in the second issue, he travels to Czechoslovakia to get the backstory on the vampires. I mean, he's been having these dreams or repressed memories come to the forefront of his mind, so he wants to find out why. So he goes to Czechoslovakia, where they think all of this began. He takes, like, a tour of a castle that the king that they believe is behind it used to rule in. And they find, like, an old princess and how they think that she is involved in the whole thing. And then this old woman comes up and gives him these rings and is like, follow the heart. So he follows, I guess there's a river in Czechoslovakia that they call, like, the heart or the serpent or something. And I think she tells him to follow the serpent's heart. So the river is called the Serpent. It's like nicknamed. So he goes to like the middle of that river, and that's kind of like where it ends. Like it ends with him and like his tour guide like falling. They go on like this thing of rocks and they fall, and now they're kind of in like this thing. It looks like a hidden kingdom. I'll show you. Yes, this is like the last page. Like they fell, and it looks like there's like some sort of like castle type thing back here. So that's where this one ends. I believe the third one should be out next month, so I'm looking forward to it. The thing that I don't like about these comics is that there's so many pages. Like, there's 6 or 7 ending pages every single time. And, like, I'm okay with that, but I feel like they could have put a little bit more content in them. I like the comics, but I feel like there's not enough to them. There could be more. Like, they could put more pages in them to make it a full comic, or they could just put more information. Like, if they make a trade for this, I feel like it could be like this big instead of a normal trade, because it's very slow moving. It's not a fast paced comic, but I kind of like that too. I mean, it's not like they put so much information at the end you're like, oh my gosh, I have to know what happens right now. Like, it is very slow and steady, so I'm content with waiting for next month to see what's going to happen. It's not like, oh my gosh, I need to know the answer. Like, it's not that kind of comic. You shouldn't get angry reading it unless you just don't like that it doesn't tell you a ton of information. It tells you a little story, and then at the end it's like, okay, next story will be in the next issue. So we'll see. I'm guessing the next one, they go into the castle that they have found, and they find the man maybe that is responsible for the vampire man that's responsible for turning all of these women into vampires. I'm not really sure, but that's just a pure guess on my part. I do like it. I think that it will be a continuation. Mike Mignola, he writes it, and then Gabriel Ba and Fabio Moon, they do the illustrations, and they work really well together. I mean, their series before, they've won like awards. Gabriel Ba, I really like him from the Umbrella Academy. Like, he's awesome at the art that he does. So, I mean, it might not be that informational. I don't think that's a word, but it is now. It might not tell you a lot of information, but it is interesting. You know, it's not like a completely, I can't even think of a comic that I just didn't like, but it's not, like, I'm gonna keep reading it for sure. I don't know if this is helpful to anybody who wants to read this, but that's all I can really say. Like, it's hard to describe what is going on, because I haven't read the pre-series 1947 and 1948. I have 1947. It's at work. I brought it there to read it, and it's in the desk, and I just haven't read it yet. But Simon isn't a character in that, from what I've read, but it does have to do with the vampires, so I'm guessing it's just a continuation. Maybe it shows like what he's having images of. It shows that more in depth, so maybe I would know if I had read the other series, but you're not going to be super confused if you have with this, in my opinion, so far, if you haven't read the prequels, but I don't know. I just like to have as much information as possible about what I'm reading. So I am going to get 1948 as soon as I'm done with 1947, and then once I'm done with those two, I'll probably read the BPRD vampires again to see if it makes any more sense. So that's all I have for that, but I would suggest, reading it. If nothing else, just download it online. I mean, you can do the digital ones for, it's $3.50 for the issue, but you can find them cheaper if you're not sure. It wouldn't hurt to read the first issue, at least in my opinion. But I don't know. I really like the series, and it is just a 5-part series, so it is just a short little series. It's not like it's something that you have to commit to for life. But I'm sure that they will have something else afterwards. I don't know what they would call it, since this one isn't a year, but they could call it like BPRD Anders or something. I don't know, something weird like that. And that's all I really have for this. This whole thing is probably just very confusing, and it's not a very good review, but I did want to just kind of talk about it a little bit and say, what I think of it so far. And I do like it. It's not the most informational comic, but I don't know. I like it. It's not your typical vampire story to me, and it's not, if you guys are like anti-vampire, a lot of my friends that I know, they're like, no, I'm not going to read that because, Twilight ruined my thoughts on vampires. Well, these vampires definitely do not sparkle, and yes, it looks like there may be a family, but so far there's only one man, and he turns women into vampires, not to do the whole Twilight story, but he just does it to be a jerk, and because he wants women, I guess. I don't really know. But I'm going to find out, because I'm going to read all of them. So that's all I have. If you don't like vampires because of Twilight, give them a chance. I mean, not everyone is on the same page as that whole story. And this one was probably begun way before that. I mean, they think ahead a lot whenever they're writing these comics. And these people, let me just say that Gabriel Ba, he works with Gerard Way. And if you guys know anything about any of the songs that Mike Kim has done, they are very anti-Twilight. So, give it a chance. I don't care if you don't like vampires, you can still read it. So far, it hasn't been a lot about vampires. It's been about Simon Anders trying to find out why he's having visions. So, read it for that. Read it for Anders. Don't read it for the vampires. That's all I have for today. So, I will see you next time with my comic review. I'm not sure what I will do a review on, but the guy at the comic book shop that I go to, he gave me a few comics that he wants me to review. I still have to do a couple that I got at C2E2. I have the Amala's Blade 0 and number 1 that I kind of want to do a review on. I haven't read them yet, so it'll be a surprise to me. And I also want to do a review on some of the ones that I got for Free Comic Book Day, especially the Killjoy one, because a lot of people are really upset about not being able to get that. But I will say this, if you guys wanted the Killjoy comic and you were not able to get it on Free Comic Book Day, you can go to Dark Horse's mobile downloading service and you can download that comic for free. So, if you guys didn't get it and you don't feel like, I looked on eBay, and yesterday this thing was selling on eBay for like $33, but today it's like gone down, it's like $6.50. If you guys don't want to pay like $7 for something that you could have gotten for free, you can still get it for free online. So, keep that open as an option in case you guys didn't get it. Also, a lot of comic book stores might not have, like, given away all of theirs. Mine probably didn't, so I'm going to go back on Wednesday and see if they still have an issue, and maybe I can send it to one of you guys. I don't know, but we'll see. So, that's all I have for today. Enjoy your day and read comic books. Bye!